Tuesday, July 29th. Real feel already up to 108 degrees this afternoon. Mostly sunny, some clouds there. Richmond, Virginia. Great to be back at Bear Scott Stadium for the final Bear Scott Stadium visit of July. A prime time of year to be at Bear Scott. Last night's feature presentation, Pointless Time Travel 2017, starring Miranda Heath. This one clocking in at just under 5 minutes. Available free on YouTube. Not a very good film. I do not recommend this. It didn't do a whole lot with the 5 minutes it had. Nothing special about it. First time viewing for Frank Addington. We're down to 3 days left in this July season of movie watching. And on the last day, I will do a little recap of the month in movie watching. We might conclude, just kind of take it easy the next few days, since there's no more must-watches on the table. Just have some fun. Maybe the final day, the feature will be the Hall of Fame game, because we have a party coming up that day, this Thursday. And then we'll move on to the next season of movie watching. The Legendary Trail, great place for meditation, as is the entire area of Bear Scott Stadium. The tennis courts here. And some sad news coming in last night. We've had some great Hall of Fame Major League Baseball players passing away from the same era. Ricky Henderson back in December, and then the Cobra, Dave Parker, from last month. Of course, the Cobra goes back a little further, and then last night, the great Ryno Sandberg passing away, born in Spokane, Washington. The same place that former Super Bowl MVP Mark Rippon, quarterback, was from, as well as former Hall of Fame Utah Jazz point guard John Stockton, all from the same Spokane, Washington. 3 different sports, all greats, and except for Rippon, but Ryno Sandberg was really one of the great second basemen, probably the premier second baseman of the major leagues during his era, at least in the National League. Roberto Alomar is right up there as far as in the American League. But 10 All-Stars for Ryno Sandberg. He really just owned the second base position in the National League for a solid decade. 10 All-Stars, 9 Gold Gloves, 7 Silver Slugger awards. He could hit for average, hit for power, great fielder. Stole 344 bases in his career. He had 19 triples one year, 1984. Never really equaled that, but I think he ended up with 70-some triples, which is, he might have more career triples than Ricky Henderson. Over 400 doubles. And he was a huge part of both of the 1980s American League East champion, National League East champion Cubs teams. Of course, 1984. And then in 1989, Cubs winning the division both years, losing to the Padres and the Giants, respectively. can't say much about the 84 team, but people forget that 1989 Chicago Cubs team, very underrated team. It doesn't really get talked about. You had Jerome Walton, the leadoff hitter, center fielder, who was National League Rookie of the Year, I believe. Batting leadoff, you had Ryne Sandberg batting second, Hall of Famer. You had a very young left-handed hitting Mark Grace batting third. He had MVP type numbers on that NLCS that year. Will Clark just outdid him hitting. Then you had the cleanup position, the Hawk Andre Dawson, Hall of Famer. I think it was Luis Salazar batting fifth, the third baseman. Shawan Dunston, the shortstop, doesn't get a ton of love. He was one of the solid shortstops in the National League back then. Everyone talks about Ozzie Smith and Barry Larkin, but kind of forget about Shawan Dunston. He's a very good player back then. Ended up being on the 2002 Giants. They went to the World Series, the National League champions. I really wanted Shawan Dunston to get a ring that year. And then, of course, I'm whiffing on the catcher of that team and the other outfielder. So I think the catcher on that 89 Cubs team was it Joe Girardi? Could have been Joe Girardi. Maybe Hector Villanueva was a backup, perhaps, on that team. But I'm whiffing on the third outfielder. I hope it's no one obvious. But pitchers on that team, Rick Sutcliffe, great pitcher, and the young future Hall of Famer, the Bulldog, Greg Maddux. You had Mitch Williams, the Wild Thing. It's a phenomenal closer that year for the Cubs, managed by Don Zimmer. I think they lost 4-1 or 4-2 in the NLCS to the Giants. So they were never able to equal that success afterwards, and this was a couple years before the Atlanta Braves took over that division for the rest of the decade, for the 90s. So rest in peace, Ryne Sandberg. As I'm right out here at his second base position, the Bear Scott Stadium baseball field. A ball right here that Ryno would have handled cleanly, unlike Steve Sachs. Sachs could handle it cleanly, he just had his issues. Throwing it like a dart to first base. See, that would have been right there. So rest in peace, Ryne Sandberg, passing away at the age of 65. Boy, that is a big one, guys. All right, so tomorrow we got our third beach visit of July coming up. It's going to be a nice hot one. It's going to be not the same beach area. It's going to be a different one. It's one I went to back in late August of 2021. There's about a half a dozen videos of that trip on the Frank Addington channel. It's a very memorable time there. Very, very good place. Not as easy to get to as the regular beach area, but it should be really good. There's not going to be an opener. There's not going to be a closer. There's not going to be a one for all the marbles. We did kind of the pick was yesterday for the afternoon trivia big cash prizes winner, which was John. So he picked the place to go after for Wednesday. So look for either a very late Wednesday evening, tomorrow night, or very early Thursday uploads from the beach trip for tomorrow on the Frank Addington channel. I'll see you guys this evening for trivia. Take care. This is Bear Scott Stadium, July 29th, 2025.